everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor. So happy you could join me again today for part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls, where each and every weekend, just like yesterday, we answer our community's questions. They're on topics of all things wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging, and as I say, everything in between. So looking forward, like I said, to being able to try to give back as much as I can, try to pull from my practice things that I see on a daily basis, weekly basis, or maybe I've only seen it a couple times before. But to be able to give you some insight on at least the best place to start, where to really, maybe you haven't looked before, so some new insights on that. And honestly, to understand that whatever you're living with, whatever you're dealing with right now, there is a fix to it. I honestly believe that. I don't think that I've seen anybody to date who just said, you know what, couldn't fix it, couldn't get rid of it. Because what happens is, we try something, we get data from it. When we figure out what that data means, we can then tweak it. We get more data. Is it working? Is it a positive effect, a neutral effect, or a negative effect? Is it not working? And then why isn't it working? And we keep recalibrating from there. If you have that type of attitude, if you have that type of mindset, you literally cannot be stopped. No matter what, we don't know if it's today, we don't know if it's tomorrow, we don't know if it's next month, but you will get well. You'll lose the weight. You'll overcome the health issue, and yes, you will live a good, long, healthy life. That's the goal for all of us, and that's what we strive for. So without further ado, let's get right into the first question. So today, all questions will be listed at stephencabral.com/765. stephencabral.com/765. That's where you'll find all of the community's questions, the people who have written in. You'll also find all of the show notes that I will have put in for how I answer all of these questions and where to go to. Okay, a little sip of water there, and we're good to get going. So Viviane's first question is this. Love your podcast, have learned so much. Okay, straight to the point. My hands get numb at night, both hands, and they wake me up several times during the night. Started a long time ago with the left hand, but now both. Doctor said I have a very light case of carpal tunnel. Gave me shots a couple years ago. It was fine. Came back and much worse. Went again to the doctor, did nerve tests, got some diagnosis, got the shots again, which did absolutely nothing this time, but made my hands very much uncapable for a couple of days. I get numb, even sleeping with braces they prescribed. My hands feel sore and hurtful, tender all day. From numbness at night is not the position I sleep in. Please give me some light. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's the deal. I've talked about carpal tunnel before on the show, but I wanted to look at a couple things. I know that you said it's not the position you sleep in, but to me, it's so odd that it only happens at night when you're sleeping. So again, I'm going to give you multiple ways to look at this. The first is this. The way that you're lying on the bed, we need to make sure that your neck is still in alignment with the spine, meaning like your neck isn't tilted towards your left shoulder or towards your right shoulder or down towards your chest or back up towards looking up the ceiling. Very, very important, because what happens is we have nerves that are innervated all off of the cervical vertebrae. Okay, that's off of the neck vertebrae in the back, the spine. So some of those, along with the thoracic spine, innervate the nerves that actually run down your arms. So when I look at nerve-based impingement, which is clearly what you have, we're assuming, that we have to look at impingement possibly all the way up where it starts, which is in the neck. Those, like I said, the cervical vertebrae. So my recommendation is this. Whatever position you sleep in at night, let's try a different one. Let's have you try one night sleeping up in a chair. It's not forever, just one night. Maybe you could try that. Do you get numbness? If you don't, well, this is interesting because now we have data. You slept upright. You kept your arms by your side. You did not have your neck twisted at all. Okay, now let's have you try sleeping on your back if you're usually a side sleeper. Is your neck in alignment? Did that go well? Okay, it did. Now lying on your side, that doesn't work. You get numbness. Okay, well, there could be, like I said, that impingement going on. So let's just get rid of the variables. Is it your sleep position, and are you impinging there? And if that's the case, well, then you need to go see a very good chiropractor or muscular therapist that does active release technique, and then also someone that can help you strengthen what's called the posterior chain muscles, the posterior deltoids, the rhomboids, the levator scapulae, the trapezius muscles, and then start to lengthen and elongate the pectoral muscles, the SCM muscles in the neck. And so you want to get the body back into balance. Okay, so that's that. Now, if it's carpal tunnel based, then we'll want to look at, okay, what's going on? What repetitive motion activities are you doing on a daily basis that's exacerbating this? I've worked with people at computers, admin. I've worked with hairstylists. I've worked with tennis players, all with carpal tunnel. We had to take some time off. We had to get rid of those repetitive motion. We had to balance the muscles between the extensors of the forearms and the flexors of the forearms, and you can look that up. And then we had to reduce inflammation. What worked the best? Okay, here's what worked the best. We did something called castor oil packs. Please check out my podcast on castor oil packs. I will try to link that up. But just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in castor, CASTOR. You will find a podcast on castor oil packs. They work phenomenally well as an anti-inflammatory and people get a lot of benefit. But before you put on the castor oil pack that night for bed, what I would like you to do is this. I want you to do hot, cold soaks. Okay? About 3 minutes to 5 minutes of a hot pack, and then 2 to 3 minutes at least of soaking. Put ice in a sink with water and put both forearms right into that sink. Ice them down for at least 2 to 3 minutes. A lot of times I like to do 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off to really sink in the heat and sink in the cold. And I do that for 5 minutes, alternating back and forth, oftentimes ending with a cold, since that seems to keep it a little bit more numb. So that's what I would do. Check it out. Let me know if you have follow-up questions. Joey's up next. Joey's asking, Dr. Cabral, I'm a 39-year-old male, ex-athlete, still work out every day. My diet is really good, and I've been fasting 12 to 16 hours a day for about 2 years. Last 3 years, I've been spending time coaching basketball in Eastern Europe and China. For the past year, I've been having serious throat pain that comes and goes, usually lasting weeks. Also, while having this pain, I get other symptoms such as blurred vision in my left eye, fatigue, lightheadedness, standing up, dizziness, numbness in the hands and feet, like they are falling asleep, and just overall really jittery and anxious. I feel like everyone around me is moving in fast motion. Got it. It's really frustrating because nobody can seem to figure out what's wrong with me. Anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Joey. Okay, so Joey, first off, I just can't recommend enough you running a thyroid adrenal hormone panel. We send those pretty much all over the world. Check that out. Thyroid adrenal hormone. What do you want to look at? You want to look at your cortisol throughout the day. You want to look at your levels of thyroid as well, and you want to look at your testosterone and progesterone, estrogen. Those are all great to look at. Your vitamin D, you look at your blood sugar overall, your insulin and hemoglobin A1C. What I would also look at is a hair tissue mineral analysis. See if you're depleted of electrolytes. Okay, or minerals. Here's the thing, though. I want to just make sure you're not going too long with fasting, causing extra stress in the body, and that you're not too mineral depleted. Sounds like you have a pretty active job coaching. Couple things here. Okay, so if you take your blood pressure, I would love to see that. Is it low? If it's low, well, a lot of this fatigue, lightheadedness, dizziness, and numbness can all be from low blood pressure. So that's an easy answer. Like, really, that's an easy answer. So we'll want to check that out. You can get a blood pressure monitor. Just literally type in blood pressure and our Omron, OMRON. That's the type of blood pressure monitor that I recommend for at-home use. I did a podcast called Create Your Own Doctor's Office at Home, and you can check that out. The oximeter, glucometer for your glucose, oximeters for oxygen, blood pressure using the Omron device. That is great. So it's easy to figure out. And then the other thing could be is low blood sugar, okay? You're going that long fast. I don't know if you need it. Like, not everybody needs to do 16 hours fasting. 12 hours is great, maybe 14, but you might want to have breakfast, all right? Something to think about there. The anxiousness can be from the low blood pressure, it can be from the low blood sugar, it can be from higher cortisol, it could be from depleted minerals, it could be higher levels of copper, it can be from so many things, right? It can be from SIBO, it can be from gut-based issues where you're getting signals from the gut to the brain that are causing anxiety, it can be from depleted neurotransmitters. So much could be going on. My job is to help you figure that out. So again, recommendations, the big 5 labs, of course, the big 5, but if not, the thyroid adrenal hormone, hair tissue mineral analysis. If you can do one more, the organic acids test. Okay? That's what I would recommend. That's where I would start. And just make sure that the eye-based issues and the throat-based issues aren't from you yelling when you're coaching, because sometimes the simplest explanation can be the explanation. And so I would certainly look into that as well. Sue's up next. Sue's asking, hi, Dr. Brawl. Before Christmas, I was under a lot of stress at work. We took a family trip after the holiday, and on the first night I woke up and half my face was paralyzed. The next day, I phoned my doctor, prescribed prednisone and antiviral medicines, which I took but saw no improvement. My doctor says I have Bell's palsy. Can you please help me understand why this may have happened and how I can begin to heal my body from the inside out? It's been 3 weeks, and there's been no change in my paralysis so far. Okay, Sue, so let's get you your answer. Yes, I agree that most cases of Bell's palsy are caused by extreme stress. That's one. And the second is that extreme stress allows for viral overload. Now, I don't know how long it's been since you wrote in this question, but the good news is I literally answered how to destroy viruses, herpes, shingles, and cold sores on episode 760. Today's 765 on Tuesday, episode 760. Check that out. I'll link it up in the show notes today as well. That will tell you how to get rid of those viruses. Just keep in mind, herpes zoster mimics Bell's palsy with that paralysis of the face. You very well may have herpes zoster. So check that out. Herpes zoster, shingles of the face, however you want to look at it. It's essentially nervous system-based inflammation, not allowing the musculature of the face to work appropriately. So what do we do? That's the question, right? Well, this is kind of a second follow-up. I don't recommend this often, but castor oil, you can even just rub it on the face, works fantastically well as an anti-inflammatory in that topical region, meaning like if you have inflammation of the elbow, or like we talked about for carpal tunnel, you can do it on the wrists. And for the face, you can actually put it directly on the face without even necessarily having to do the pack. You can just actually rub castor oil into the face, let it set in 15, 20 minutes, and then wipe off the residual if you want. Great to put on at night especially. Okay, the other thing is I've actually given a whole herpes zoster protocol before, but honestly, 760 goes deep in depth, right? Deep in depth, yes, I like that. So it talks about the lysine, the zinc. I've actually helped many, many people completely recover from Bell's palsy, herpes zoster, whatever you'd like to call it. So that's what I would do. It literally outlines my entire plan. Curcuminoids or turmeric is another great recommendation. I'm going to put the turmeric that I recommend currently in the show notes with a link to that product that I do recommend. And what can help it along faster? Okay, chiropractic adjustment for some people can help it along around the cervical vertebrae as well. And the other is acupuncture. Acupuncture has actually been shown to work pretty well. Again, and I've studied acupuncture in depth overseas, and I actually saw it work best for nervous system-based maladies. And so I would check out a good acupuncturist along with doing your antiviral-based protocols. That will give you everything you need, I believe, to heal yourself of this. Okay. And that, I've seen the healing take place anywhere between like 2 and 6 weeks, typical time. Maybe to fully remove it, it depends on the severity of the case. I've seen people with really severe cases, 8 to 12 weeks, pretty much all the way better. All right, Travee is up next. Travee. What nutritional supplements would help a child with ADHD? Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder, okay, or hyperactivity disorder. So this is something that I'll just give you a little personal story that I'm lucky that 30 years ago, when I was in grade school, essentially, that they didn't have the same type of diagnosis because I most likely would have been put on medication for sure for this. So let me tell you just exactly what we're looking at. For ADHD, we're looking for, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying that today. It's very strange since I see children with ADHD in my practice all the time. So what I would say to look at is a hair tissue mineral analysis, and I would also look at an organic acid test. I would absolutely run those specifically. And now I know the reason why I'm having this is because it's ADHD is how I typically think about it. Maybe ADHD is another form that I'm not thinking about. I want to make sure that I answer your question appropriately. But ADHD is, as far as I know, I think we mean ADHD. I apologize. I'm going to answer this as ADHD because now my mind is now connecting why I'm not connecting these two things together. Okay. So let's just say it's ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Okay. So this is what I do all the time in my practice. And it's exactly what I would do. I would run a hair tissue mineral analysis. I would look for high copper. I would look for high calcium to low magnesium. And I would look for an upside down ratio of sodium to potassium. If that's the case, well, our health coaches will give you my recommendations on what to do about that. Then I would run an organic acids test to look for any type of candida overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth. For bonus, I would run a food sensitivity test. If you don't, then I would simply put this child on an elimination diet. Removing the most common culprits would be dairy, the gluten, the corn, the soy, the eggs. That is what we typically remove in the beginning. We do it for 3 weeks. And then if you choose to, you can start to reintroduce those one at a time by doing my protocol that I showed you on episode 754, how to create your own rotation diet. Remember, if you haven't had a chance to listen to back episodes of the Cabral Concept, I can't recommend it enough. I know it's my show, but I'm just saying that a lot of these things we build off of, meaning that it's okay to pick up anywhere that you would like with the podcast, but if you get the chance to and you go back, it's essentially a course. It's a 2-year course on a functional medicine that you can do in a couple months if you just kind of like listen to it when you're in the car or maybe like out for a walk, whatever it might be. And you'll just be able to build on the education there. All right, so besides running the lab tests, and again, I don't like to give nutritional supplement recommendations without really knowing, but for a child, we can certainly do a half a scoop of the daily nutritional support shake in a smoothie. So that's going to be the multi, the minerals. I would absolutely add some omega-3 to that. You could do liquid omega-3. Typically, we're using Pure Omega, which is the one that I recommend by by Integrative Therapeutics for a liquid, and then I recommend our capsules. But for a child not swallowing capsules, that's not a great idea. And then typically I'm adding in 5 milligrams of zinc for children with ADHD. And the reason I'm recommending that is if you don't run the hair tissue mineral analysis for about 1 to 2 months, you could add in a little extra zinc, because if they do have a copper toxicity, this would help to try to push it down. Also, highly recommend removing the food dyes, the soft drinks, the MSG, anything colored based, really getting rid of the sugars. I mean, these things are all fixable. They honestly are. They are. It's lifestyle, it's environment, it's overall stress, it's what's going on with the gut, it's mineral imbalances, it's all of those things is what we have to look at. I wish there was just one silver bullet, but like most things in natural health, that's just not the case. Hopefully that helps. Matt's up next. Matt's asking, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for all you're doing to help people. I have a question about my wife and some nausea she's experiencing. She gets nauseous after almost every meal and has for years, and needs something like gum or a piece of candy to get rid of the nausea. She's 35 years old and healthy, no smoking, no medical conditions or health diseases. I want to try to help her, so we tried to find her trigger foods to no avail. It appears unlinked to any foods or times of the day. Her grandmother also has the same issue, and her nausea is helped by smoking cigarettes. I would love any suggestions or advice you have. Thanks for everything. All right, excellent length of questions today. I have to make a comment on that. Perfect. About 5 lines, 6 lines, just enough for me to be able to see what's going on. Matt, this is really helpful. So here's what we do. We look at what the person's symptoms are. Okay, any time of the day they can get nauseous after a meal. Okay, that's interesting to me. Seems to be otherwise healthy, except that. So we're looking at one thing. We're looking at H. pylori. So we're looking for a bacteria in the stomach that we can run a stool test on. So I'd run a stool test, and I would run an organic acids test for sure to look at what type of bacteria is going on here. The other thing I would look at, because this is interesting, that she actually feels better or gets some relief by chewing gum. What does that mean? Well, your wife could be artificially starting the cycle of producing more betaine HCl by continuing with the chewing process. So your wife may have low levels of stomach acid or low levels of enzymes in the food, or just weak digestion in the first place, maybe because she's stressed, which is why maybe the grandmother smoking cigarettes relaxes the nervous system, able to help with digestion. Possibly. Just some things to look at. So what would I do? Well, first I would run the organic acids test, and I would run the stool test, run a hair tissue mineral analysis if possible, and then, but not before the first 2. The second is this. I would use 1 to 2 daily, it's called a daily digestive enzyme, and I would do 2 of those before every meal, okay? Or just in the beginning of the meal, that would be fine. And then 1 to 2 of those, just try 2 to start with, because you just want to get that big desired effect. And the other thing you could do, so only 1 variable time, so that's 1 test. And the second test is you have a drink about 2 to 3 ounces of apple cider vinegar, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, and add also 2 to 3 ounces of water, okay? What you'll do is you'll have your wife sip this before the meal and then during the meal, and this should help to add some acidity to the stomach, okay? So check that out. Let us know how that goes. If you run the organic acids test, the H. pylori, of course, you're going to get more specific recommendations. And if you can do one more add-on, the hair tissue mineral analysis would be great. All right, let's answer one more question today. I think we did pretty well today. Next question is coming in is Taylor. Taylor is saying, hi, Dr. Ball. I always thank you for the ways you share your wisdom and expertise for the community. I just received my pregnancy protocol in the mail from you. I'm curious about the iron. I'm planning on taking the prenatal vitamins for the next 3 months and then begin trying to conceive. Should I be taking the iron supplements now or when I get pregnant? I've heard conflicting things about if women get too much iron, they can easily overdose, etc. Can you give me some more insight why taking iron is important and the specifics on if I should be taking it before contraception and after conception? Thanks, Taylor. Okay, so basically Taylor's trying to conceive. She's looking maybe in the next 3 months or so, getting pregnant, and that's that. Okay, so here's the deal. Typically, all women, and again, there's never an all, right? But typically, the majority of women, about 3 to 4 months in their last trimester, so about 3 to 4 months before childbirth, are anemic, meaning they're functionally anemic. They have lower levels of iron. They need more iron. They've created more blood. The body has a greater need for hemoglobin, oxygen, and iron in general. And the same goes after childbirth for at least 3 to 4 months. So we're typically saying, okay, for a period of maybe up to a year, 8 to 12 months, 4 months before childbirth, and then 4 months or so after minimum. Okay. Do you need to take it now? Not necessarily. But the truth is that we recommend a food-based iron supplement. Okay. Well, we have a couple different recommendations. One is Innate Response called Iron Response. Great company, food-based. Now, I don't recommend food-based for everything because I'm not an all-for-one kind of guy. I recommend whatever's best. Whatever works best is what I recommend, and of course, healthily. So Iron Response is one. That's all natural. It comes from spinach. It comes from beets. It comes from all the food sources of iron. So that's great. Can't really overdose on that, but of course, checking your iron and blood work does make sense. And also, if you're still getting a menstrual cycle, women who get a menstrual cycle are going to be removing iron from their body on a monthly basis, which is why men and then also menopausal, postmenopausal women have to be more concerned about getting iron in. And the reason they have to be more concerned about supplemental iron is they don't really have a good removal process unless they are giving blood at a blood drive or a blood bank. What's my recommendation for you? Honestly, you can just do the daily nutritional support shake that we have, and then take 400 micrograms of extra nature folate or methylfolate. I did a whole show on this on how to have a happy, healthy pregnancy. So check that out. How to have a healthy pregnancy. I've linked this up like every single weekend. It's a show that I think is pretty comprehensive. I'm trying to do more of those. So, not knowing you, if your iron looks good on your blood work, well, then I would say just use the iron supplement, again, 3 to 4 months before childbirth and then 3 to 4 months after. And for now, you can just use your prenatal vitamin. The one we recommend right now is by Ortho. So many good ones out there, but of course, that's a great one because it has the omega-3. You should really be using the omega-3 support as well. So I'm going to link that up just to make sure you build up your stores. I test a lot of women doing the omega-3 test. Might be something worth looking into. The other thing worth looking into is the hair tissue mineral analysis. Okay, here's why. Omega-3 test tells you if you have enough fatty acids on the omega-3 side to balance the omega-6. If you don't, well, believe it or not, the unborn child will take your good omega-3s from organ tissue, I won't get too graphic, from your organ tissue to get its supply. Now, that leaves you without yours, which is very detrimental. And that's why a lot of women's bodies begin to break down after the first, second, third, child is just the body is being depleted. So that's important. And then I also recommend a hair tissue mineral analysis. And the reason I recommend this is, let's say you run a hair tissue mineral analysis and you find high mercury and you find high levels of aluminum or high arsenic. Well, you want to get that out of your system before you conceive so that your child isn't getting passed on those heavy metals. So let's just say you don't have time, you don't want to run the hair tissue mineral analysis. Well, then I would absolutely run a heavy metal detox. It takes 6 weeks. It removes between 90 and 93% of all the heavy metals from the body. It's all natural. It's Craxel chlorella. It's cilantro. It's a biofilm disruptor, and it's vitamin C. Great protocol. We use it all the time. That's one of my favorites as well. So heavy metal detox. I'll link everything up in the show notes today. I hope that was helpful. And again, if you got benefit from this show, the way that I would love you to see if you can just kind of share this message with others is just to pass it on that you feel someone else might be in need of this information. That would be absolutely tremendous. And of course, I really do appreciate each and every time someone leaves a review on iTunes. That allows us to kind of keep moving up in the ranks. We're currently ranked in the top podcasts for the health category. I love seeing that. I really do. Not really from like an ego perspective, but it's like, hey, like this is what I want my life's mission to be about. And it seems to be moving in that direction. And since I have no end date of when I'm ever going to stop this, which is like never, for me, it's all about the journey. And I just love seeing that I'm able to reach more and more people every month. It does mean a lot to me. And so thank you again for those reviews. The show notes, the links to the products, to the labs, to the everything, the other previous podcasts will be at stephencabral.com/765. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had an amazing weekend. Take care. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into the Cabral Concept. As a valued listener this month, I want to bring you a special offer that I've never done before. Since I'm now such a big believer in CBD oil and the hundreds of benefits that it can bring you, I wanted to give you the opportunity to try it out for yourself. We have so many success stories coming in from those using our organically grown CBD oil that I wanted to make sure you get those same benefits yourself. So if you or someone you know suffers from anxiety, depression, insomnia, feelings of overwhelm, learning disabilities, autoimmune issues, blood sugar dysregulation, poor skin health, or inflammatory health imbalances, I can't recommend enough giving full-strength CBD oil a try. When your bottle arrives, simply place one full dropper under your tongue and hold it there for 2 minutes, and then swallow any remaining CBD oils. You can always increase the dosage from one full dropper after that, since there's no upper limit if you choose to increase the desired effect. The benefits are quick and usually come within 20 minutes while lasting hours after that. And the Equilibrium Nutrition brand, our CBD oil, is also one of the only full-spectrum CBD oils that's third-party tested and clinically proven to be free of bacteria, molds, and other contaminants. It's also been tested for THC and proven to be non-psychoactive while passing all standard measures. Plus, we're one of the only, if not the only company to actually post our certificate of analysis and authenticity right on our CBD oil webpage. So if you're looking for the highest quality CBD oil in the world that you can trust for yourself and your family, look no further. This month I'm offering a buy 3, get 1 free, which saves you over $89 plus free shipping, so that you can truly experience the healing power of this plant-based medicine. To take advantage of this offer while supplies last, go to stephencabral.com/store, and there at the top of the webpage, you will see a button to click for this exclusive offer. I hope you're able to take advantage of this offer. It's a special one-time offer, and I can't wait to hear your success story soon.